Okay, I'm almost 4 miles in, and this part hasn't been as bad as I thought. And the good news is the creek is in no kind of flood stages, so I'll get across there easy. But here's the main spot I was worried about. Is the next 3/4 of a mile is through heavy timber right to both sides, and I can tell right from here that it's going to be pretty difficult getting through. Well, maybe not getting through, but getting back is not going to be fun. But this here's my washout that I got to go up through the bush here, down the steep hill, across the creek, back up here. And for a couple of years I've been trying to figure out how to get across here. I built a bridge 2 years ago right down here, and I built the bridge, and the next time I came back, this beaver dam had gone and took the whole bridge and everything with it. The bridge is down there somewhere. So I've been thinking about putting 2 long runners right from here down into them culverts, piling them up with rocks, and putting 2 more runners up to that hill over there, the top of the other cut, and then putting a straight piece across in the center, so you got a little down slope, then flat, and then a little up slope. But that's a project that'll take probably more time than I got, so anyways, we'll see. If I ever get rid of my fishing lodge, maybe I'll have time to do something like that, but who knows. Anyways, I'm going to put the GoPro on my head and go through here. I might have to cut a few trees with my canoe rack on the bike, and because it's the trail's out on the side hill, I sometimes get stuck on them, so I might just go up and cut a few of those trees first. Alrighty, see you down the trail if we make it any further. Well guys, we made her into the tent camp, which is always good. Now we'll just go down and check out the river, see what my lunch spot looks like. Well, even this river isn't completely opened up. That's bizarre. This is fast moving water here. Still looks as pretty as ever though. Right there is where I've decided I'm going to build a bridge. I'll build a crib right on that side, and one right on this side, and span it with a couple of good sized logs, and see how long it takes to wash it away. But I'm going to keep it a good 4 feet up off the water, so I really don't think the water will ever come up that high right here. But anyhow, should be fun. That's something I'll do though once the cabin's finished. Not for right now. Didn't find any moose sheds. Lots of nice logs here for the cabin too, so I might not even have to drag them from as far as where I marked all those other ones. Let's go take a look at the cabin site and get ready. Start doing something here. One thing I gotta do is clear out my area, make it workable, cut all this excess wood up into firewood and stack it to dry. With all these extra logs, they're not going to be used. Then make myself a platform for peeling logs. Now it's got to be something that is close to where I'm going to be working on the logs. But not so close to the cabin that the whole pile of bark's going to be there. I'm thinking if I take this tree down right here and use it, and that one there, I'll just put what I'm going to do, cut a V about right here, like so. So like that. Then I'll do the same on this stump, right at a height that's perfect for me, so I don't have to bend over to peel the logs. Because I'd rather lift the logs up onto something 2.5 feet high or so than to be bent over. I can't handle that being bent over all the time. So, and then I'll clear this out, and this will be where I come through. And I guess I'll cut a turnaround all the way around the cabin site for the quad. Let's see how much my deck shifted over the winter. It's not bad still. I mean, that fire log over there, that's where the front porch is going to be, so it's not too much of it's not even leveled off yet at all. So that front log is a little high there. Might have to trim her down a little more. But actually, it's that one right there is a little low, so maybe I'll boost that up by 3/4 of an inch or so, and that might bring her up to be pretty level. Anyways, good enough for me and the girls I go with. Anyways, like I said on my other, what was it we were building? Or said I'm by no means a finishing carpenter. I'm a chainsaw carpenter, and that's about my speed. So, alrighty, I'm gonna get at this here, and I'll get them boards off, lay them down here, give me a little bit of a deck to work on. See, and this is what the floor is going to be. It's going to be 2x6s butted up against each other. Then the walls are going to be going right here on top of this log, this wall, straight across here on that log there, and so on. This will be entire 2x6s all the way across here, and then once the thing's done on the inside of the wall, I'll have a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood covering the whole floor. So it'll be 2x6 with plywood underneath on top, and that should stop the bears from going underneath there and chewing a hole through the floor, because those a-holes, if they want to get in something, they're gonna. So I just got to make it as hard as I can for them. Get the windows guarded off with some welded rebar guards, and I'll put my nail platforms on the ground in front of the windows and in front of the door so they don't. And you'll see what that is. It's just be a 2x4 sheet of plywood, 1/2 inch, and every 3 inches or so I'll have a 2-inch nail nailed through there, and it'll be standing up, the nail standing up, so that when a bear comes and steps on him, he gets a poke in the foot and won't want to bother coming in no more. So anyways, I'm going to start cleaning up here and make a path so we can get the logs in here. Alright, see you in a bit. Well, I'm thinking I'm going to need some coffee, so that's unbelievable. This water is barely higher than it was last fall. Anyways, I'm going to go down and get some water. And I forgot my drinking water too, so good. Look here, you see otter's been climbing up here real heavy. That's good to see. And across there you can see they've been climbing up and going up onto the bank there. And here, but this is pretty fresh stuff right here. Ooh, that's nice cold water. But I'm gonna get enough to make a couple cups of coffee and get going. Alrighty, see you down the trail, or I won't see you down the trail, I'll see you over at the camp once I get things cleaned up and working at her. So it looks like if I bring 5 or 6 boards in each time I come in over the next 6 trips or so, I should have enough for the whole floor. I'll probably start hauling a couple pieces of the metal roofing in at the same time. Coffee should be getting ready pretty soon. I'll go get some nails and hammer these things down. If I have the nails here, but we'll see. And we'll continue on. Clean up all this stuff. I'll cut this tree up, get it out of the way, throw it on the firewood pile. Trim some of this down here. Cut this stuff out of the way. I don't know if I have to cut it. I'll see how well hammered in there it is. To it. That will get rid of a bunch of stuff. Alrighty. Hey guys, I wanted to mention too, I know, I mean, this is common knowledge for a lot of the guys up that are in the bush lots in my end of the world anyways. But for some guys that are just starting and stuff, you know, there's, in the course of my trapping over the last, I think it's 35 years, I've been in the wilderness area mostly. And let's see, out of any times that I've ever gotten myself into some kind of a predicament, it has always been generally two issues that will be the ones that, and you're talking ice, I guess there's 3, ice, fast water with a canoe, but mainly it chainsaws and cutting down trees. So maybe I'll just do a couple quick, just some words for now about cutting down big trees, especially when you're in an area like this here. So you got a lot of trees that have to come down here, and common sense would have prevailed that I cut them before I built this, but you know, there was other things that needed doing, and you know, there's But what I wanted to emphasize was that there's three main things that'll affect your tree when you're cutting it down. And I'll show you two of them on this one. You see this tree, obviously, this big jack pine here, you're looking at a 14-inch tree across the butt. Now, it has got a pretty serious lean on it. Now, that is going to be a pretty major factor on which way this tree goes. If ever possible, you drop the tree in the direction of the lean, because that's just the way it's going to naturally go. The other issue is branches. You see this tree has a ton of branches on the side that it's leaning, and that is going to even more affect it going that way. Branches will affect the direction of dropping, and sometimes if a tree has a slight lean and you think it's going to want to go that way, branches will actually pull it the other way. Like this one here is more of a straight tree. It's got a little bit of a lean to it, but those branches there are going to haul that thing that way pretty seriously. Now, both of those factors you can compensate, and I could get that tree right there, even though it's leaning straight that way and the branches are pulling it that way, I could get it to drop right over there if I wanted. Like right to where my bike is, just by, you make your notch, and when you're doing your back cut, and I'll show you all this when I actually cut this tree down, although the problem is I'm not going to pull this one. I'm going to let it drop right where it is leaning. I'll find one at some point that I'm going to pull in a direction or not. But you see, so if you wanted this tree to drop here, you make your notch here, okay? But when you do your back cut, and you're going to make your notch about 1/3 of the way through the tree, okay? I generally go a little less, between 1/4 and 1/3 of the way. But now when you do your back cut, you're going to come in flat here, and you're going to go in until you get maybe a few inches or so from your notch. And then you're going to, because now it's going to want to fall like that way. So then what you do is you turn your bar like this and release the pressure on that side and maintain the pressure here of the wood holding. So you cut more like this then, and you release that, and as it starts to fall, this wood here is going to pull the whole tree. It's going to start going like this, and then it's just going to swing it like that. Okay? And I'll show you that on a couple trees after. But I wanted to mention the main thing that's going to affect your falling the tree is wind. Now, we've got a little bit of a breeze blowing today, but it's up high. These trees here aren't really getting affected too much because it's thick bush. But you get into an area that's open and you've got a slight breeze, and it will drastically affect where you can put that tree down or not. So that's one thing you always got to watch out for. And even if you absolutely have to cut the tree on that day, if it's too windy, get your cut partially made and wait for a lull in the wind, and then snip it fast so it drops where you want it instead of dropping where you don't want it. But anyways, you can always mess up, like last fall when I was cutting that tree there. So I tried to drop it between those two, but it got a couple branches caught on that one dead one there, and it slid down the other side and got hung up there. Now now that puts you into a dangerous position if you don't want to leave that tree there for too long. I'm gonna go down and cut that dead one for firewood. And now because that tree's on the other side of it pushing, you got no option. It's not going to go anywhere but straight this way. And I'll have to try and drop it right through here so that it doesn't come onto the tent, and it should go there no problem. But the only danger is that while you're cutting that, at some point that leaning tree is going to release, and you gotta be watching the tree you're cutting plus the leaner. And that's where the danger comes in. And chainsawing, cutting trail and whatnot is fairly tiring work, especially, if you're walking a long ways and cutting as you're going. Now I remember back on my second trap line, I've been cutting all day and I was walking back, and normally what I did was I would cut to the end, leave the chainsaw there so that I didn't have to carry it back and forth. The next day I'd go walk to the chainsaw, continue cutting. But I had been cutting for a few days and I wanted to bring the saw back and cut some more firewood. I can't remember if it was firewood or cut another trail the next day. So I was carrying the saw back, and as I was walking I looked and I seen ahead of me, oh, that's if I cut that one tree there, I'll take a good swing out of the trail. And I was in fairly open black spruce bog with, good size, 10, 12 inch black spruce, which is, and fairly wide open. So I didn't even pay a heck of a lot of attention. I just looked where I was going to drop it. Never looked up the top of the tree though. So I made my notch, my back cut, tree started going. I took a step back in my snowshoes and I just stood there, and without realizing it, all of a sudden, bang, a tree comes down like this and knocks a hat right off my head. Because I didn't look up in the tree, I didn't see that another big black spruce had fallen and was leaning right on that tree. If 6 inches this way, and I would have been dead, crushed under that tree, never to be found, because I was in the bush for 2 months and nobody would have come looking for me. But anywho, like I said, it's just, you pay attention, you look up, you check out your whole surroundings, and you generally won't get hurt too bad. Alrighty, let me get this going here, and then my coffee water should be ready pretty soon. Ain't nothing better. Sitting out in a pretty spot like this, having a cup of coffee. It's a nice time to be out in the bush. Especially when you haven't been out here. Let's see, the last time I was at the campsite would have been early February. Maybe mid-February. Nice to get back anyways. Just patiently sit here and wait for something to swim by. Or walk by, whatever they want to do. Lots of deer travel that ridge right up there. I'm gonna have my coffee, and if I see something, I'll turn the camera back on. Hey guys, I'm gonna drop that tree now, and like I said, I'm fairly confident in my ability to drop a tree where I want, but I also am not stupid. So my bike is now down there, out of reach of this tree, just in case. You never know, a gust of wind comes up or something, and you just never know what might happen. Okay, so now that tree, now you see here, because of the lean of that and the branches, there was so much pressure, it was still 4 inches of tree holding that, and it went. See, because of that pressure, that would have been a tough one to move in the other way. And like I said, because when it's got that much of a lean, the amount of pressure that's on there is unreal. So that there tree will get cut up for firewood. And those two there along with them. That one there has got a lean coming right over here. So that one will be a good one to show you how to drop it off the lean. The only thing is right now the wind is blowing straight towards the tent too, so I am not going to drop that tree today. This one here and this one I decided are the ones I'm going to use for like a bench to do my log peeling on, just because that one there I'm going to get it flattened out, and it's going to, that way I can pull the bike right in here dragging the logs and then clear out my trail around there. It's a little bit of a tough side angle right here. Oh, there's my honey jar that the bear stole last year, those a-holes. But like I said, it's a little bit of a sharp angle, but I'll just, not an angle, but sharp drop off here. But I will, I can always build it up with a couple logs and stuff and leftover pieces of wood. And then I'll just go around here. And I might even just go right down in there to my lunch spot and then back up and use that as my turnaround. Then I can just wait a little bit before I clear all this crap out of here. It's oh, that's where they left my coffee mate jar. Those wonderful creatures. Anyhow, all right. We'll keep going. Got this tree cut down here. Got it cut into 3 lengths that are usable for me. The last one is, I don't really know how long it is, but it'll be used for shorter pieces around the windows and doors and the porch walls. So, but now we're going to find out if this is, if we're able to do any peeling yet. And when you're peeling logs, you basically got 2 options. You can cut them and peel them where they lie, then let them dry out for however long you need them to. And especially, well, in my other cabins that I always built, I was never near a quad that I could haul them, so it was always carrying them. So a lot of times I cut them and peeled them right where they were and then let them dry for a few weeks. But sometimes I didn't have that option and I just ended up carrying these 16-foot logs on my shoulders, and that's probably why my shoulders are the way they are right now. So your first step peeling the log is get a ridge along the top. Now some guys like drawing knives. I absolutely hate using them unless they're, you know, it's in a time when the logs aren't sapping out and they don't peel easy. And I can see already that this is not going to be an easy log to peel. So I'm going to probably just end up leaving it until the sap starts running. Because even if you cut the tree down this time of year, it's middle of April, another 2 weeks, and you'll come back here and this stuff will all be running, sapping out, even the ones that you've cut down. And you just see it's coming off in little pieces. And jack pine will not peel as good as spruce anyways, because the spruce bark is a lot stronger. But when it starts running good, I'll be able to do this all in one piece. You just keep going along and working it off. But it's not much better right now than it was in the fall. A little bit, but you can tell it's starting to run. It's separating a little easier. So I'm going to just end up leaving this one, because if I do too much of it, the bark will dry there. I'll roll it over so this part is on the ground, and so it'll absorb some water. Leave her like so, and come back in a couple weeks and peel it off. You want your branches trimmed down really good though, because that will mess up your peeling. Okay, so we'll just go back and continue cleaning up and not worry about the log peeling for now. A lot of firewood around here. I'm not going to have to go too far for a long time. Okay, so I'm done here for the day. It's getting close to supper time, and I just got a call from work, but I don't have reception here where I can talk. All I can do is get the call and then it blanks out on me, and they generally don't call unless I'm needed for something, so I better head out and see what it is. I got everything pretty much cleaned up all around. All the area over there on the other side in front of the camp where I brushed out last fall. Piled it all up for burning this coming fall or the year after. See if it's dead enough. And cut up a whole bunch of stuff laying around for firewood. So, anyways, I'm going to head out and see what it was they were needing. Alrighty. See down the trail if I see anything worth turning the camera on for. Keep your boots dry, boys.